This is day 1 of lesson 2.2, which is adding integers. So the first few problems are just warm-up problems. I would suggest pausing the video here, trying these on your own, and then we'll go through them together quickly. So number 1 says write an integer to represent $8 withdrawn from a bank account. Withdraw means to take out. So I'm going to write this as -8. There's our integer. Number 2 says copy and complete the statement to make it true. -9 compared to -8. Well, -8 is closer to 0, which means that that's bigger than -9. So -9 is less than -8. Number 3, order the integers from least to greatest. I want to think about, okay, least. What's the number that's farthest from 0? And it would be -8. Then looking at my negatives, I have -2 and -1. Well, -2 is farther away from 0 than -1. So I have -2, then -1. And then I have 2, and lastly, the greatest is 4. Then we have evaluate -8, absolute value of -8, plus absolute value of b plus a, if a is 0 and b is 12. So I'm going to rewrite this as absolute value of -8 plus absolute value of 12 plus 0. Well, the absolute value means the distance from 0. -8 is 8 units from 0. So it's +8 plus absolute value of 12 is 12 plus 0. 8 plus 12 plus 0 gives us 20. Couple vocab words. Opposite are two numbers with the same absolute value but different signs. So we think about opposite numbers: 1, -1, 50, -50, 19, -19. And then the additive inverse is the opposite of a number. So 3, the additive inverse of 3 would be -3. The additive inverse of -21 would be +21. In 7th grade, you do have to use a number line to add positive and negative numbers. So just a couple steps that will help you. You always start at 0. If it's a positive number, you go to the right. If it's a negative number, you go to the left. The second number begins where the first number ended. This is going to make a lot of sense in a second here. And then the point where you end is your answer. Check to make sure your answer has the right label. So our first example, where we're going to add integers using a number line, says -2 plus -4. First thing I want to do is kind of sketch out my number line here. So I'm going to add in 0, and then I'm just going to add some numbers in. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I do 6 on the right, I have to do 6 on the left. So we do -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So the first step is to start at 0 and look at our first number, which is -2. Since it's negative, I'm going to go to the left 2. 1, 2. Then my second number is -4. Since it's negative, I have to keep going to the left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plot my point, and there's my answer. My answer is -6. So -2 plus -4 is -6. The next one is 4 plus -9. So again, I'm going to sketch out my number line here. I'm going to do 6 on each side again. So I'm using those whole numbers and their opposites. I start at 0, and my first number is +4, which means I move to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then my second number is -9. Since it's negative, I have to move to the left. So I'm going to jump from there 9 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plot my point, and my answer to 4 plus -9 is -5. When we add integers with the same sign, we add their absolute values and attach the sign. So we can add these without using a number line. The rule or the little trick to this is same sign, add, and keep. So if they have the same sign, we add the numbers, keep the sign. -4 plus -5, they are both negative, so they have the same sign. We're going to add those numbers. 4 plus 5 is 9, and we keep the sign. So our sign is negative, so our answer is -9. And here's our little song. You ready? Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the larger absolute value, then you'll be exact. Oh, so good. We're gonna sing that over and over and over and over again this year, and it's gonna always be stuck in your head, and you're gonna love it. So this is just another example of using a number line. -7 plus 10. Again, we're gonna plot our 0 point, and we'll do 1, 2, oh, okay, well, you know what? This page does not want me to write on it, so we're gonna skip it. The next example says adding integers with different signs. So we have same sign, add, and keep, then different signs, subtract. So if they have different signs, you're gonna subtract. Then keep the sign of the larger absolute value, then you'll be exact. So in this case, we have 3 and -9. They have different signs, so we're gonna subtract their absolute values. The absolute value of 3 is 3. The absolute value of -9 is 9. I always want to take the larger one and subtract the smaller. So I'm going to take 9 minus 3, which is 6. And then I have to keep the sign of the larger absolute value. Well, -9 definitely has a larger absolute value, which means that my answer is going to be negative, since -9 is negative. Okay, a little bit of practice here. 18 plus 0. Ooh, that's hard. 18. 100 plus -44. Same sign, add and keep. These have different signs. One's positive, one's negative. Different signs, subtract. We subtract their absolute values. Absolute value of 100 is 100. Absolute value of -44 is 44. So I'm going to take 100 minus 44. 100 minus 44 is 56. And then we keep the sign of the larger absolute value. Well, the larger absolute value is 100, and that's positive. So it's going to be a positive 56. The next one says -12 plus -16. Same sign, add and keep. They have the same sign. So we're going to add the numbers and keep the sign. So I'm going to add 12 plus 16, and we get 28. Then I have to keep the sign. They both share a negative sign, so our answer is going to be -28. This one says 4 points are graphed on a line. Which point is located at the opposite of -2? The opposite of -2 is +2. So we look at which point is graphed on +2, and it is M. And then lastly, we have this example here where it says which shows a model of -3 plus 4. So remember, when we have a number line, we start at 0, and then our first number is -3, which means we're going to go to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. So letter A works so far. Start at 0 on the second. 1, 2, 3. Letter B works. Letter C, the arrow isn't even going to the left, so it can't be letter C. And same with letter D. There's not an arrow starting at 0 going to the left, so it can't be D. So it's either going to be A or B. From there, we have to add +4, which means we're going to travel to the right 4. from where we left off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our answer should be 1, but our arrow is still going, which means it is not A. From B, we start where we left off and go to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. We land on 1 and our arrow